Imagine growing up with a favorite TV family, only to realize one day that a sibling or neighbor has vanished, never mentioned again. In the 1980s, popular TV shows could erase entire characters, like Happy Days' Chuck Cunningham or Family Matters' Judy Winslow, as if they never existed, defying the explanations we expect today. This is 1980s popular TV characters who mysteriously disappeared, a story shaped by network economics, breakout stars, and almost zero accountability. But why did these disappearances become a quirky hallmark of the era? And what really drove the choices that left so many questions hanging? The truth behind these vanishing acts is stranger and funnier than you might think. Number 8. Chuck Cunningham from Happy Days. The original big brother, tall, athletic, and usually seen carrying a basketball or raiding the fridge. For 2 seasons, Chuck drifted in and out of the Cunningham household, sometimes played by Gavin O'Herlihy, sometimes by Randolph Roberts. Then, just as the show found its groove, Chuck vanished. No goodbye, no dramatic send-off, not even a passing mention at the dinner table. By the time Happy Days hit its stride in Season 3, the Cunninghams had quietly become a 2-child family, and Chuck was erased from family photos and memories alike. Behind the scenes, it was all about Fonzie, as Henry Winkler's leather-jacketed rebel stole the spotlight and the hearts of viewers. Writers realized they didn't need a big brother to guide Richie anymore. Gary Marshall, the show's creator, once joked, "Let's just have Chuck disappear and let's see how much mail we get." We didn't get much. The role had already bounced between 3 actors, and by the time the recasting roulette stopped, Chuck's days were numbered. Fans were left scratching their heads. Later, TV writers and critics coined the phrase Chuck Cunningham Syndrome for any character who disappears without a trace, a pop culture shorthand still used today. Chuck's fate became the gold standard for TV vanishing acts, a warning to minor characters everywhere. If you're not careful, you might just go upstairs and never come back down. And somewhere in sitcom limbo, Chuck is still waiting for someone to pass him the ball. Number 7. Judy Winslow from Family Matters. For 4 seasons, Judy was the youngest Winslow, quick with a comeback, always squeezed in at the end of the family couch. Then, at the start of Season 5, she took the most famous trip up the stairs in sitcom history and never came back down. No goodbye scene, no phone call, not even a stray mention at a family dinner. The Winslows just kept rolling along as if they had always had 2 kids. Behind the scenes, the show was facing a different kind of family drama, one measured in dollars and Nielsen ratings. By 1993, Family Matters had become the Urkel show. Jaleel White's suspenders and snort laughs were pulling in millions of viewers, and ABC wanted to keep the focus tight and the budget even tighter. Producers quietly decided Judy was expendable, and Jamie Foxworth's contract was not renewed. No press release, no explanation, just a single line in the payroll ledger where her name used to be. Fans noticed. Decades later, going upstairs became internet shorthand for any character who vanishes without a trace. Judy's disappearance inspired memes, podcast debates, even a few tongue-in-cheek missing person posters. If you search "Where's Judy Winslow" today, you'll find a digital trail of confusion and jokes, all pointing back to that mysterious staircase. In the world of sitcoms, sometimes the door at the top of the stairs is a one-way ticket to oblivion. Number 6. Andy Keaton from Family Ties. The Keaton family welcomed Andy in Season 4, a late-in-the-run baby meant to shake up the household dynamic just as sitcoms often did. But by the time the credits rolled on the series finale, Andy was barely a blip on the family radar. Andy's journey started with the classic TV baby trick, born on screen in 1985, then almost overnight transformed into a precocious school-aged kid. Brian Bonsall took over the role in Season 5, and suddenly the Keatons had a wisecracking little brother who could hold his own with Alex P. Keaton and the rest. It's called soap opera rapid aging syndrome, and Andy might be its most famous sitcom victim. One year he's in diapers, the next he's quoting Reagan and trading punchlines with Michael J. Fox. For a while, Andy was everywhere, sharing scenes with Mallory, getting life lessons from his parents, and even landing his own storylines. But as Family Ties headed into its final season, the show's focus shifted. College applications, job offers, and adult relationships took center stage, and Andy's screen time quietly shrank. By Season 7, he was popping up mostly in the background, if at all. No tearful goodbye, no dramatic exit, not even a throwaway line about soccer practice or summer camp. Andy simply faded out, a victim of narrative convenience and the writers' renewed focus on the original cast. Behind the scenes, there was no scandal, no contract dispute, and no official word from producers. The creative team just let Andy slip into the background as the show wrapped up its run. Fans sometimes joke that Andy's greatest magic trick wasn't rapid aging. It was vanishing without anyone in the Keaton family noticing. In the annals of sitcom disappearances, Andy Keaton stands as proof that sometimes the youngest sibling isn't just forgotten by the writers. He's quietly erased from TV memory altogether. Number 5. Koko the houseboy from The Golden Girls. Before Sophia moved in with her sharp tongue and wicker purse, the pilot episode featured a very different roommate dynamic. A live-in houseboy named Koko, played by Charles Levin. Koko cooked, cracked jokes, and served up cocktails, all while trying to keep up with Blanche, Rose, and Dorothy's banter. But when the actual series premiered, Koko was nowhere to be found. No tearful farewell, no new job offer, not even a single line about moving out. The show simply started with 4 women and never looked back. Network test audiences had a lot to say about that first episode. NBC's research teams combed through focus group notes and found that viewers loved the chemistry between Bea Arthur, Rue McClanahan, Betty White, and Estelle Getty. The addition of Koko, it turned out, just made things feel crowded. Producers took the hint. Koko was quietly written out, and Sophia Petrillo, originally meant for only occasional appearances, became a full-time Golden Girl. Estelle Getty's performance in the pilot wowed both executives and viewers, sealing Koko's fate before the first regular episode even aired. For years, Koko's brief stint remained a deep-cut trivia fact, something only the most devoted fans or pub quiz teams remembered. No one in Miami ever mentioned him again, and the kitchen table was suddenly reserved for cheesecake, not cocktails. Behind the scenes, it was a simple case of ensemble magic. When lightning strikes, you don't mess with the formula. Koko may have been the first casualty of the Golden Girls' success, but he paved the way for one of TV's most iconic quartets. Somewhere out there, Koko is still waiting for a dinner bell that will never ring. Number 4. Cory Kupkus from Kate and Allie. Now here is a disappearing act so swift, most viewers never even knew it happened. Cory was supposed to be Allie's co-worker's son, a peripheral pal for the kids, maybe a source of sidekick mischief. In early drafts of the pilot, he had a handful of lines, a lunchbox, and a spot at the kitchen table. But by the time the show actually hit the air in March 1984, Cory was gone, scrubbed out before a single episode reached living rooms. What happened? Blame the focus group. NBC's research team ran the pilot through test audiences, and the feedback was brutal. Too many faces, not enough family. Viewers wanted to spend time with Kate, Allie, and their kids, not a rotating cast of coworkers and their offspring. Somewhere in a stack of network notes, Cory's name was circled and crossed out, with a comment that boiled down to, "Keep it simple." Writers and producers took the hint. The scripts were overhauled, the ensemble trimmed, and Cory was quietly erased from the show's DNA. No sad goodbyes, no last-minute recasts, not even a cameo as a background extra. Cory Kupkus became a trivia answer for the most die-hard fans, a footnote in sitcom history that proves just how ruthless network TV could be when a focus group turned thumbs down. For the actors and writers, it was just another day at the office. One more character sacrificed on the altar of audience testing. For Cory, it was the shortest sitcom career imaginable, present in the early drafts, gone before the first commercial break. In the end, Kate and Allie found its groove by sticking to the core family, and Cory Kupkus joined the ranks of TV's most efficiently erased almost stars. If there is a sitcom limbo, he is probably still waiting for his cue. Number 3, the Pembroke family from Charles in Charge. When the show first aired in 1984, Charles was the live-in college student helping out the Pembrokes, a picture-perfect suburban family with 3 kids and a golden retriever. For 22 episodes, it was all about Stan, Jill, and the Pembroke children, with Charles wrangling household chaos and serving up life lessons between classes. Then, after just 1 season, the entire family packed up and moved to Seattle. No drawn-out goodbyes, no lingering shots of empty bedrooms, just a quick moving van, a handshake, and Charles left standing in the driveway. The real twist came behind the scenes. Charles in Charge was struggling with ratings, so the producers pulled the plug on the original format and sold the show into first-run syndication. Instead of canceling outright, they hit the reset button. Out went the Pembrokes, in came the Powells, a brand new family for Charles to supervise, complete with their own quirks and storylines. Scott Baio stayed in charge, but everything else changed overnight. This wasn't just a character swap, it was a full-on family transplant. the kind of move only possible in 1980s TV. The gamble paid off. The revamped show found new life in syndication, running for 4 more seasons and reaching that all-important episode threshold for reruns. Somewhere in sitcom history, the Pembrokes are still unpacking boxes in Seattle, probably wondering why Charles never calls. Number 2, Bonnie Barstow from Knight Rider. Bonnie wasn't just Keaton's mechanic, she was the brains behind every turbo boost, the one who could fix a bullet hole with a soldering iron and a raised eyebrow. For the entire first season, Patricia McPherson played Bonnie as the technical heart of the show, trading barbs with Michael Knight and keeping KT in top shape. Then, out of nowhere, season 2 rolled around and Bonnie was gone. In her place, April Curtis, a new tech whiz with a different style and a fresh jumpsuit. No dramatic exit, no heartfelt goodbye, just a swap, as if viewers wouldn't notice. But fans definitely noticed. Letters started pouring in to NBC, so many that even David Hasselhoff would later say, the fans demanded Bonnie come back. The volume was never made public, but every retrospective calls it an avalanche. Patricia McPherson herself admitted she had no idea why she was let go, and behind the scenes, stories swirled about creative differences and producer preferences. Whatever the reason, the show's dynamic shifted. Some viewers liked April, but most wanted the original Kit-Bonnie-Michael triangle restored. NBC listened. After just 1 season away, Bonnie returned for season 3 with April quietly written out and no real explanation given. It wasn't just a win for Patricia McPherson, it was a rare case of 1980s fans flexing their power and getting results. These days, showrunners might brace themselves for a Twitter storm, but back then, a mountain of handwritten letters did the job. Somewhere out there, Bonnie is still keeping Kitty's circuits humming, and probably saving a few fan letters just in case. Number 1. Dr. Catherine Pulaski from Star Trek: The Next Generation. For 1 season, she was the chief medical officer on the Enterprise, stepping in after Dr. Beverly Crusher's sudden transfer to Starfleet Medical. Played by Diana Muldaur, Pulaski brought a sharp, no-nonsense approach, a throwback to the cranky charm of Dr. McCoy from the original series. She clashed with Data, challenged Captain Picard, and even managed to drop the occasional dry joke in the transporter room. But when season 3 arrived, Pulaski was gone. No big send-off, no shuttlecraft farewell, not even a passing reference in the ship's logs. Dr. Crusher was simply back at her post, and everyone acted like nothing had changed. The real story unfolded off-screen in a flurry of internal memos and fan letters. Producers were split. Rick Berman preferred the warmth and subtlety of Gates McFadden's Crusher, while others thought Pulaski's old-school edge would win over longtime fans. But the audience had other ideas. By the end of season 2, the studio was flooded with letters, hundreds, maybe thousands, asking for Crusher's return. Viewer feedback was measured, tallied, and discussed in staff meetings. Even Patrick Stewart, who played Picard, pushed for McFadden's comeback. When Maurice Hurley, the head writer who'd clashed with McFadden, left the show, the path was clear. Crusher was reinstated for season 3, and Pulaski quietly disappeared into the Star Trek ether. Pulaski's 1-season run became a landmark moment for fan power in television. It was one of the first times viewer mail directly shaped a major casting decision in a primetime drama. These days, showrunners might watch social media for instant feedback, but in 1989, it was stacks of envelopes and handwritten pleas that turned the tide. Dr. Pulaski may have only served 1 year on the Enterprise, but her exit proved that even in the final frontier, the fans have a say in who gets to stay on the bridge. Across 8 high-profile cases, this documentary has shown that in the 1980s, popular TV characters disappeared suddenly, sometimes after only a season, sometimes before viewers even met them. Production memos, casting contracts, and audience research reports confirm that economic pressures, changing creative priorities, and fan reactions all played a role. Yet, in many instances, like Judy Winslow's last trip upstairs or Chuck Cunningham's quiet exit, no official explanation was ever provided on screen or in network statements. To this day, some internal documents and decision-making details remain unavailable. What is clear is that these disappearances shaped how audiences remember television's past and paved the way for today's demand for narrative continuity and transparency. As streaming platforms and social media give viewers a louder voice, the era of the vanishing character, so common in the 1980s, has largely faded. The files may never be complete, but their absence is part of TV history.